my name is Louis and this is my channel, the Namibian FPV. Today I'm going to make a list of all the equipment I recommend that a noob in FPV would start with. Now, all of the recommendations or choices I have are very personal to me. They work well for me. I enjoy them. That's not to say there's not room for upgrading. And that's not to say they're going to work for you. But this is just a small rundown. I will make some recommendations throughout the video which I think might be better, although I do not have much experience because, like I said, this is my first gear and I'm still quite new to the FPV as well myself. Alright, so first things first, when you want to start flying FPV, you need some essentials. You need to decide what you're going to fly. For instance, you can fly wings, which are like planes. You can fly quadcopters, which fly differently than anything you've flown before. But anyway, today we're going to talk about quadcopters. Now, quadcopter is a drone with 4 propellers, meaning it has 4 arms, 4 motors, 4 propellers, and with the camera in the middle. And that is what I based my buying around. Now, FPV means first person view. So to start flying FPV, firstly you need to be able to see what the drone is seeing. That means you're going to have to get yourself a nice pair of goggles. Now, when I first got these goggles, I did my research. I went online, I talked to some professionals on their Discord and emailed them and all that, and I found a choice that fits my price perfectly. Now that choice were Eachine EV800Ds. Now the D stands for diversity because these goggles come with 2 antennas, which means that it picks up 2 signals. It comes with a clover antenna or a panel antenna. Now what makes these goggles very nice is the fact that they're super cheap. You get your Fat Sharks, which I think the cheapest would be the Attitude 5s. They are about $300 US dollars, that is. You can get your Sky Zone O2s, the X's or the C's. They come in about under 300 US or over 300 US. You can even get your Eachine EV200Ds, which come in about under 300 US dollars, and you can get them much cheaper if you buy at the right time. But these goggles were only 100 US, which in Namibian dollars or rands, that is about 1,500 plus minus depending on the exchange rate. So for me, these were in my price range because it does get very expensive if you have to buy all your equipment at one time. So what's nice about these specific goggles? Firstly, they do come with diversity, so they pick up and maintain signal better than, say, cheap goggles without diversity. These goggles have a nice big screen and they allow to DVR, which is to record. So these goggles can record, and that saves you a lot of money. You can't afford a good GoPro or HD camera as well as everything else. So this is a good place to start, I would say, especially if you start small, like for instance a Mobila 6 or a other type of drone. You don't need big fancy goggles to just fly around your house. These work great. What's also nice about these is they've got a built-in 5-inch screen, which gives you amazing field of view. It's got a 1200 millihour battery, which should give you about 2 hours of flight time per charge. You can also get an attachment that allows you to plug in your 2 to 3S batteries with this goggle, which also gives it a bit of extra charge for those days where you're not close to an outlet. These goggles are also quite light. I don't think that they compare very well to, say, smaller type goggles like the other Eachines, the Omways and the Fat Sharks or the Sky Zones. Compared to them, they are a bit heavier. These come in at about 375 grams. Now, these goggles are heavy on your face. I'm not going to beat around the bush. When I fly these, I usually have to look down at the floor because they do become quite the hassle to keep on your face. Another thing that makes these goggles nice is if you don't like wearing them on your face, which I know it's not for everybody. Having these kind of things are disorientating, having something hang on your face, and that's why these goggles can split into 2. So these goggles can also turn into a ground unit, which you can just place on a tripod and then look at it from the front. I can't speak a lot for the quality of these goggles. I can't compare them to, say, OLED goggles because I haven't experienced it myself. But the quality is alright. I can see everything I need to see. There are a bit of ghost branches and so I've flown around my house before, and there are some things that you just can't see with FPV goggles, where the newer type, you know, the HD goggles that DJI bring out or brought out this year would be much better for. Alright, now enough about the goggles. Let's talk about the other important thing to have when going into FPV. I would say that would be a radio. Now, I chose the FR Sky QX7. You get two more variations. You get the Access version and you get the QX7S, which come with different gimbals and a different shell. But I decided to rather go cheaper. This radio was very cost effective as well. You can pick them up for under 200 US dollars. So they are a nice budget option. I've even seen them on sale for below 100 US dollars, depending on when you buy them. These radios come with ball bearing gimbals, which are very accurate. They do wear out. A ball bearing rubs through and it does become flatter and flatter, so you will lose precision over time with these gimbals. Alright. They also have radio speech outputs, so if you have your goggles on and you can't look at the display here, you can have messages. I set up my radio to talk to me and tell me everything about my switches.
Disarmed.
For just examples,
Disarmed.
these are
Total mode. Angle mode.
my warnings and everything. It even tells you when your RSSI is very low. That means your signal. It tells you when your signal is very low and when you need to bring the drone closer. It can even tell you when your battery is getting very low. So it has a battery warning as well. This radio is a very low latency and it does have vibration alert in some cases. It also has files that are compatible with other radios. So if this is not going to be your radio for the rest of your hobby life, then you can upgrade your files that are on this and transfer all your models and your profiles onto another radio like the Taranis X9D or the X9D Plus or the X9E and so forth. This radio also works with OpenTX, which you can use through your computer and set up profiles like that. So this is a very nice radio. You can put in receivers in the back like Ghost RC or something like that. They can extend your range even a bit more. I would recommend that if you start getting into bigger drones and try to fly longer ranges, because this doesn't hold signal quite that well. I have lost signal just flying around my house, so it's not ideal always. But for a start, this is very nice. You only need 8 switches on a quadcopter because usually your flight controllers and your receivers only have up to 8 channels which they can work with effectively. So you only need about 8 switches. This one has a lot more switch positions. So this is a good radio to get just to start with the hobby and get your feet into. You can even upgrade this in some cases to work with a LiPo battery like I did here. So that is my radio. Next thing that you're going to want to do if you're going to fly FPV, you have to consider this strongly, is what kind of charger are you going to get. You get different kind of chargers on the market. You get cheap chargers like these that come with some of your micro drones. These are very effective. They do not have indicators to say how much they are charging your cells. These only work with your 1S LiPo batteries or 1S nickel polymer batteries. So it's not a great thing to get for yourself if you're going to choose a charger. I did get this free with my Mobile 6, so I have no complaints. I can say nothing to it, but I would recommend you get yourself something a bit nicer. Something I would recommend is the ISDT Q6 Plus. I'm not sure if they still made these. When I first started getting into the hobby, it was about 2 years ago. These were all the rage. This is a small charger that can charge up to 6S batteries. I think even a bit more in some cases. I'm not quite sure, but this is a very nice charger to have. It's got a 300 watt output and it can charge up to 14 amps, and it's a smart charger, so it can fast charge your batteries. It can just normally charge your batteries. These can even storage charge your batteries. Storage charge it when you're not gonna, if you're going away on holiday and you can't take your FPV equipment with you, I'd recommend you storage charge your batteries so they don't go bad while you're away. These can also discharge your batteries. Now, not all of us can go out every day, and leaving your batteries on charge for too long can damage them. So these can even discharge your batteries so that you can just recharge them before your next flying session. Another nice thing to talk about is tools for your quadcopter. If you're going to build your own drone, your own quadcopter, then I would recommend you buy these first. You can't build your drone if you don't have the right screwdrivers or wrenches. So you need to think about buying these. Depends on if you're going to buy a pre-built, like a bind and fly, not ready to fly, or you're going to buy all the parts individually. They got some great kits nowadays online. I know there's a Xylo kit on Get FPV, that the Joshua Bardwell edition that comes with everything you need, including a case. Even when you get something like that, you still need tools. So what I recommend is get yourself a decent soldering iron. You get nice irons these days. What comes most recommended, and I don't have this myself, would be a TS100. Now I'm going to throw up a picture on screen. As you can see, this is a compact soldering iron with a very fine tip, and this is important when working on your electronics, soldering wires to your flight controllers or your VTXs and so forth, because having one of those bigger, cheaper soldering irons, they're not very reliable. They don't hold the heat as well. They're inconsistent, and some of them they don't even come with very fine tips. So I would recommend get yourself this. You won't regret it, because you're going to be able to keep this soldering iron for the rest of your life. I'm in the process of getting myself one, but due to Corona and the lockdown in Namibia as well, it's very difficult to get products in and out. That's why I'm still waiting for a while on some of the other things I ordered for the hobby, like my new drone. Stay tuned for that, and a new motor. For those who follow me on Instagram, you know that my Mobula 6 did a bit of a dive into the water. It's my fault. I'm still very new, and I decided to fly above a basin full of water, and that just ended very badly. So at least I did troubleshoot, and I did go into crisis mode, and I put everything on ice. And thank goodness none of my electronics blew out, so everything still worked. But it still meant that I had to replace one motor because the motor it got a bit water damage. It didn't want to work very well anymore, so I just decided to screw it. Just gonna buy myself more motors. It's a bit cheaper than buying a new drone entirely, so I'm waiting for those motors to come as well, hopefully this week. Right, but let's get back to the drivers and the screwdrivers. What I did when I went online to buy all my drone things, I checked for the cheapest prices which I can find the most. On Banggood, I found these drivers. Now, they're very small, they're very petite, they're all metal, they're very high quality. They do give off some. I've had trouble unscrewing things. Their dimensions are not very accurate all the time. For things like a flathead screwdriver, as you can see, these work very well. A flathead is very subjective, so it might be too thin, it might be too thick, depends on what you're going to use it for, but this one mostly works with everything. For your hexagon drivers, they sometimes don't fit into the screws which you want to unscrew and rescrew onto your drone. So I would recommend maybe going for something a bit more high quality, but at the time when I bought everything together, it was about a $15 purchase as well to get these drivers. I don't regret it. Only thing that I found was I thought they would come with a prop wrench which I could use to take off my props. They didn't, but it's not a big deal. I just went into my garage and I got myself a number 8 wrench. It's a metric size wrench. It fits, it worked. I was very happy. So that is all I can honestly tell you about beginning to buy. Hello, my video got cut off there, and so it's now a few days later. I'm editing the video and I found that you guys could not see the outro completely. So I'm just gonna say thank you for watching. That was my buyer's guide for anybody new getting into FPV. Hope to see you guys soon. My packages are still far away from here. They're still stuck in the US. I might get my big drone the same time I get my motors for the Mobula 6, but I'll keep you guys updated on my Instagram. Thanks for watching and stay awesome.